Hello everyone, welcome to our Tech Open Day. It's a chance for you guys to ask Ola and myself all those burning questions that you haven't managed to phone and ask or come in and ask. And I remember to wait for Ola to turn the sound on before I started talking today. We've got your Facebook live stream up here, so that if you have any questions, we will see them as they come in. So just pop them in the comments and we will get to them as they come through. So the first question I actually get asked a lot, and it's usually by people before they get into my room, is, I'm visually impaired, how can I use technology? I can't see the tablet or phone or computer. The answer is, there's software for that. There are screen readers that read stuff out. There are magnifiers that make things bigger. We can make the text the other way around, so you can have white text on a black background. We can have large print keyboards. If you've seen the keyboard, it's not easy. There's lots and lots and lots we can do to everything that we can make them easier to use. Both tablets, phones, and computers. They are all accessible no matter your eye condition. So you can use any piece of technology. Doesn't have to be, nothing's a barrier. So as I said, pop your questions in, we'll get to them. We're also sitting in the resource centre, so if you know that there is something in here that you want to ask about, we'll get that out and bring that over. We've got talking microwaves, we've got an induction hob, we have scales and big button phones, lighting, games, magnifiers behind me and in the cabinet. And I've got the iPad on the table if you have any questions about that. I have got the keys. I even brought the keys down for the Resource Centre cabinet so we can open it up and get anything out. Do you want to get out the keyboard, Ola?
Yeah, that's actually what I was doing.
So whilst Ola's doing, he's going to get out the large print keyboard. We've got a large print keyboard which is white text on a black background. And we also have, so it's a large print keyboard. It is the same size keys as a standard keyboard, but it has larger letters on it. They take up most of the key rather than just a quarter. This is a thoughtfully designed one, and this is just a standard large print keyboard. They're quite sturdy, so even if you drop them, it's not going to be the end of the world. But they don't do well to having cups of tea poured over them. I know that from experience. And also, along with that, you can get keyboard stickers. So if you're not sure a large print keyboard would help, we have keyboard stickers which you can just peel off and pop straight on the keys of your keyboard. Also, if you've got a laptop, this is the perfect solution because you don't have to have a new keyboard. There is a very expensive process where someone can take off every key of your keyboard, get it sent away and laser etched with bigger letters and then sent back to you. But I think the stickers work just as well. The other advantage is they come in this one, which is the white on black, the black on white, and a yellow on black, which means if you only want to show your QWERTY keys and not the rest of them, you could get the white one, the white background with the black text, or the yellow background with the black text, and it's easy to spot where those keys are because all your QWERTY keys or your letter keys are different from all the other keys. Sorry, you had a question, Ola.
Oh no, it's just I was going to say the reason why we're starting with the keyboard is because I recently got asked this. I have a member that I'm going for a home visit with. His issue is he has an old keyboard and all the letters on the keyboards are already faded out. So this would be the easiest way. He doesn't want to spend money on a new keyboard. Then the easiest way would be to just get large print stickers this way and then just stick it. You can take them all out one by one and just stick them on your keyboard. And that way you can use it, or you can just get one of the large print keyboards if you don't want a sticker. So this is really, really useful.
And how much are these?
They're about £10.
Yeah, less than £10 per sheet.
£9.99.
So yeah, black, white or yellow.
And yellow and black.
The keyboards are slightly more expensive. They come in at anything from about £30 up to the really fancy ones, which are about £100, but they are etched keys rather than printed, and they have USB ports so you can pop a light in them. So I'm just going to hand these back. Ooh. Now I'm going to hand them all back again.
So tell me where you can get it from.
And you can get all of that from the Resource Centre. And if you want to get your hands on them and have a look in person, come down to the Resource Centre and you can see them in person, which often is a better answer.
Yeah.
And you can also feel what the key press is like, because I know some people like certain keyboards and other people don't like other keyboards.
Yeah, and I always want to have a look at something before I buy it, because you end up not liking something before you buy it. So
yeah, and these have all got a fairly hard keyboard press. They're not laptop style ones. They're sort of what I would call the clickety-clackety keyboards. You'll hear yourself typing.
I think we've done this a lot of times, but we're just going to do it one more time because it's really useful for people.
On the side.
So,
So what Ola's got in his hand is an electronic magnifier. It is, I will hold it because I'm slightly out of that sight line. This is an 8-inch electronic magnifier. I'm going to get some paperwork and put it underneath, otherwise you won't be able to see anything because you'll just see my jumper. So that should, I have to wait for it to pop up on my screen to see if I've got it right angle. It should be showing our newsletter from September on the screen. It's currently in black and white. We can change all those colours. So the good thing about electronic magnifiers is you can use different colours. So if you know that yellow and black are easier for you to see, that's something where an electronic magnifier will help over an optical magnifier.
So
we have a question
here from Maxine saying, how much is the Dex large keyboard, and do you do Bluetooth keys that light up?
That's two different questions. So the large print keyboards, Maxine, as I said, they start from about £30 and go up. We do actually in the box have a large print Bluetooth keyboard.
Yeah. Oh.
I would have to double check the price on that one because I haven't had it out recently.
They're a bit more expensive.
A little bit more expensive.
100?
Not quite that much, I think. It's in the book over there. We'll go and have a look in a moment whilst I'm... So, in one of the purple books. So this is a large print Bluetooth keyboard. It is etched, so it's a really high quality one. It doesn't light up though. I don't know if you can get large print and light up. I think you can get light up or you can get large print. I'd say this is a decent weight keyboard. It's feeling quite chunky. And it takes AAA batteries, which means it's any batteries that might be in the cupboard.
This one don't have the Bluetooth one.
Oh, did not have the Bluetooth one. I shall look up the Bluetooth keyboard for you, Maxine, and we'll tell you how much that is.
So I think they do have ones that light up, but you have to kind of connect it on the side.
Yeah.
There's like a light to this one's a bit.
It tends to be light up or Bluetooth, not both. I'm just looking it up, so I'll let Ola continue on with my demonstration of the magnifier whilst I do some Googling.
Right, so basically, let me just see if I'm in the right direction.
I'll just scoot away from you. We have to be careful.
So basically, the way the magnifier works is, because I had a member recently that wanted one of this. He wanted to use it to read books because he couldn't get the size that he wanted on his iPad. So what you do is you just basically just like that, you post it and then it comes up right there. It's interesting because you can actually increase or decrease the size right here to whichever size that you want. I'm trying to look at it on my screen as well, and just to make sure that we're getting it right. You can increase it to a size that's more comfortable for you, because I've got some members that have want it like really, really large, and I've got some members that just want it like all the way down there. So you can just have it there, read, and then just scroll through and read what you want. You can also put it on the table as well. And then you've got the middle where you got, like you said, with the keyboard, you have yellow and black. You've got yellow and black. You've got black on yellow as well. You have white with black on white.
Yeah. Is that the full colour one?
Yeah, we're talking about. So you can change the color of the background, just so, because it's easier for some people to read yellow on a black background, and it's easier for some people to read black on a yellow background. So it doesn't just restrict you to the paper color. You can just change it right there in the middle. I'm sure if I'm doing this right.
You are doing it right. I can see it. Don't worry.
All right. Okay. Fine.
And one of the things that actually there is a little bit of, I'm going to call it magic, technology, but we'll call it magic. That when you use one of the colour options, it actually makes all of the edges clearer because it has to do some processing of it to change the colours. So often anyone who thinks they've got finding it difficult to read on a full colour, if you just change it to black and white, it's a little bit easier. And Maxine, I have got the answer for you on the Bluetooth keyboard. It is £102, which is the pre-VAT, the with VAT price. You wouldn't have to pay the VAT, so it comes in at approximately 85. It comes in the one we've got, which is white on black, and it also comes as black on yellow. It says that they are for iOS and Macs, but they're just small Bluetooth keyboards. You could use it on a computer, you could use it on an Android phone, you could use it on a Mac, you could use it on an Apple. It would work with it.
And with the magnifier, so it's not just that one size, you've got a smaller one, which is
there is
that right there.
We are all going for the HumanWare branded ones at the moment. Other makes are available.
Other make. So we've got this size as well. We've got
and both of these, I think, are what they would class as their 5-inch magnifiers. I probably could get a tape measure out and work it out. This is the 8.
This is the 8, alright. Okay, this is the 5-inch one. And then we've also got one from Ruby HD as well. They're about the same price.
The Ruby is the most expensive of this size because it stands up on a stand, and when it stands up, it swivels the camera. It's a nice thing, but it means you're always looking directly down, whether you have it standing up or if you have it out in I'm using it like a magnifying glass.
But then again, it's preference. We're just showing you everything so you don't think we've got just one big size. We've also got a massive one if you want to.
Yeah, if I move out of the way, there's a very big magnifier standing behind me. That you wouldn't put in your pocket or your handbag. That's definitely something that's going to be on a desk for use long term. We also have a 12-inch one. That's currently on the desk of one of our colleagues because he's using it at the moment. Glenn is using it. He's trying it out so that when his access to work assessment comes, he can say, I've been using this, it's been really helpful. So that's another thing. If you are looking to get into work, there is access to work. That helps with providing specialist equipment to you so that you can do your job. So it could be magnifiers, could be things like keyboards, could be a dictaphone, specific software, that sort of things. And if you know you have an access to work assessment coming up, I would always suggest coming somewhere like the resource centre here to get your hands on the equipment and say, I've tried this, this and this, they really work for me. Because the assessors have a list of equipment they'll provide and they'll just pick one and you're better off choosing for yourself.
My sense saying that's a lot for a Bluetooth keyboard, right?
Bluetooth keyboards are more expensive.
They're usually not cheap.
I think you just popped it away. The weight of that keyboard, Maxine, it was a good quality one, and the keys weren't printed on, they were etched on, and that pops the price up. I know it's an expensive keyboard, I would say it's a very good quality keyboard as well. There are difference between the very cheap keyboards and the more expensive ones. A cheap one will be okay for you, and theoretically if you wanted a cheap keyboard like that, you could buy one that wasn't large print and a set of stickers, and that would do the same job. So that's your slightly less expensive option.
So the reason why we're going through, it looks like we've already done this before, I think we did it last month, and we're going through it again, it's just because these are the ones that we've been getting questions about more from our members. I do have one question because I had a member that wanted to learn how to type.
There is a piece of software called Azerbat, A-Z-A-B-A-T. It is a touch typing tutor, which is specifically designed for people who are visually impaired. So it has a very large letter on the screen, and it also says it out. And if you take too long to press the letter, it will tell you which finger you should be pressing it with. So it will say A, and you're sitting there going, and it will go, I'm going to get this right, left hand, little finger, A. and then it does letters, and then it moves on to doing words. And the basic one teaches you all 3 of the letter rows and the number row, and the professional one then teaches you things like how to use capitals and punctuation.
Because I remember you were having it with a member on the screen one day. I think you did something by mistake. So, because today is our tech day, as you guys know, we have people coming in as well with questions. It's just one of the questions that I got today, amongst others. He wanted to learn how to type properly, and I just told him that we'll have a session with him, and then we'll discuss how to.
So as there are other software out there, Azerbat's the one that I found works the best, because you just copy and paste some files onto the desktop and it all works. If you accidentally delete some of them, it stops working, but we're getting there. And it's all about helping you be happier with your technology. So you need to understand your technology the best that you can. And if you have any questions, give us a call. We're on the end of the phone. I don't mind answering the same question a couple of times.
Don't be shy. Don't think. Never actually feel at any point that a question is too stupid. Because sometimes some people don't want to ask it because they feel like, oh, I'm bothering you with this question. We don't mind.
No silly questions.
At any point, just ask any time. There's also a more common issue as well. Is people that have like Apple that doesn't allow you to increase the size of your icons too much. How would they? So
Apple allow you to increase the icons on some phones by making it think it's a size smaller phone. And it makes everything slightly bigger. If that doesn't help you, depending on your eye condition, you can either use. I'm gonna double check on the iPad so I get the terminology right, because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. If you have very poor eyesight, there is voiceover, and that speaks to you rather than you having to read what's on the screen. Sorry, I'm reading as I talk. Never my good idea. I'm just looking at the accessibility settings.
Text to speech, Zoom.
And Zoom. That was the one I wanted to make sure it's called Zoom. So what Zoom does is it magnifies the entire screen. So I just turned it on the iPad, and if I turn it off again, it'll go down to its normal. She says, I'm tapping too many times. So it's because we've got another piece of software on as well, it doesn't always work the same way. But if I can make it as big as we can. It doesn't go any bigger than this, but it does allow you to then move around the screen using 3 fingers. And I'm just going to start starting with Teach to the window. But these are sort of the extreme ways of doing it. You can have zoom, which, as we said, zooms in. You can have the voiceover, which reads everything. I know there are some people who
they don't really want
you don't need that much. So you can get into the apps you need to get into because you know what colour it is, or where it is on the screen, or what it vaguely looks like. But once you're in, say, your emails, and you've got an email up on screen, you need the email read out to you. That was what you were alluding to earlier. There is something called Speak Selection or Speak Screen, and that just allows you to quickly get little bits read out rather than reading everything out. And then it pops up a display on the screen to allow you to control it. The one bit of feedback I have for Apple on that display that it pops up is it's not particularly large and it disappears quite quickly. But we can teach you how to use that. I see we've got another question coming back, so I'm going to root back round to something I mentioned earlier. I'm presuming, Maxine, you're asking how do you stop Mvda whilst you are using Azerbat? The answer is you actually have to turn off Mvda once you launch Azerbat. I would have to look up the keyboard shortcut for that for you, because off the top of my head I can't remember Mvda's. And then once you've closed Azerbat down, you use a different keyboard shortcut to start it back up again. Because, yeah, well done Maxine for pointing out the potential
Problem. Sticky situation.
sticky situation. We're not saying problem. If you have a piece of software on your computer that's already talking to you,
and
then you use Azerbat, they both try and talk to you. So they both tell you what letter to press and what word to type in, and it gets very confusing. So you just have to make sure you've turned off your speech software before you turn your after you've launched Azerbat, but before you start using it. Otherwise you get yourself in a pickle. But again, that's something we can help with. So Ola can go out and help you set up this sort of thing. I can help you over the phone. We're able to do both in-house and at home. We're back to the iPad, weren't we?
So one thing you should also know, the Zoom and the whatever you got on the iPad, which is the text to speech, and it also works on the iPhone as well. But there's slightly different settings to it depending on what update of the software you have.
On an iPhone. I will phone you later, Maxine, because I think I need to ask you a few more questions. Okay, is that okay, Maxine? I'll wait for you to respond. Yes, so iPads and iPhones and everything's that are tablets or touchscreens all work in a very similar way. So if it's available on an iPhone, it's usually available on an iPad and vice versa. There are some apps that are designed for specific sizes, but there are ways around that and you can get them on both tablets or phones. The only thing that holds you back is what's called the operating system. So in basic terms, the operating system is what brings up all of your pictures on your screen when you start your device, whether it be a phone or a tablet, the very first time, before you've installed anything else. And they are only updated by Apple. Your iOS is only updated by Apple for a certain amount of time. After that time, it's a bit hit and miss as to whether or not you will be able to get older apps on your device. And depending on the software will depend on some of the settings you get. So stuff like Speak Screen is only available on newer iPads and iPhones because they haven't thought about it. Things like, so we've mentioned the VoiceOver and the Zoom. There's also the Magnifier. So like we had the magnifier here, the Explore 8, which is a magnifier in its own right. The iPad does have a magnifier feature. It's often good if you've got an iPad, but if you haven't got one, it's not as good as a standalone magnifier. It's very good for I need something now. It's not very good for long times. Yeah,
that's why we usually get people who use the magnifiers on the iPhone, but they still want to buy an electric magnifier because it doesn't work the same for reading.
There's other things that I've turned on this iPad, like I've got bold text, all the text is thicker. It's at a larger text size than its normal size. All of the buttons, they're showing their shapes rather than just floating. I've made sure nothing's transparent, it's all proper black and white. I've increased the contrast and I've reduced the motion. Again, this is something that we can help with, we can set up.
So, because some people try to do it on their own, what I've noticed is usually with the settings and the display, it lets you increase it to a certain amount and then stops you there unless you go through accessibility, then it opens it more and allows you to do more, because then it's like those softwares are already set up for visually impaired.
Yes, so there are, there's some built-in settings for what they think someone without any additional requirements will need, and then its accessibility sort of cranks that up to 11. I see we have another question come through. Can you link Alexa
with Zoom?
Oh, I said her name, she didn't wake up.
I turned it off.
Oh, well done, Ola. We have an Alexa sitting in the room, and luckily Ola remembered to turn it off beforehand. Can you link Alexa with Zoom directly for ease of accessing meetings? My answer to that would be, I don't know.
I think someone asked me this question recently as well.
I would think that with certain devices...
So it has to be a smart app, so either a phone.
I'm I'm going to go
Or
onto
an iPad.
the Alexa device and have a look to see whether it's there. So I'm going to go into my skills and see if there is a Zoom skill, because if there is, you can. If there isn't, you can't. So I've got things up on screen, which just makes it even more difficult. So we said Zoom. I would think that if one doesn't have, by the look of it, no, is the simple answer. There isn't a skill for it. If you don't have a camera, so if you're not running an Echo Show, I think it's the only one with a camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It will just tell you.
Most people wouldn't think it was a sensible thing to be running on your device, because part of the joy of Zoom is the video calls. Yeah. I don't even think you could call the number, because it's not set up to do that very easily.
Yeah, even the Google Nest Mini, it does work with Google Duo somehow, because I think I had a call with someone on Google Duo where I could see, I called on my phone, but they were answering on their Mini and they were using their phone separately. But when it was like to make the call from the Mini, it doesn't work, because I can access your.
So the answer is no, you can't make a Zoom call directly from an Alexa device. Yeah. I'm certain that it's something that in the future isn't necessarily going to stay that way, because we weren't using Zoom this much a year ago. So we'll see what we're doing in about a year's time. Are there any more questions from you guys? If not, I'll definitely go and get another piece of kit and show you. Because we've actually talked about things that I would call quite high tech.
Yeah, also it's kind of the ones that people are asking for all the time. So.
But we do deal in the very low tech. I have got bump-ons here. I would say that the bump-on is one of the most versatile pieces of low-tech equipment, because it can be used to mark things. Yeah. So if you're a keyboard user on your computer, you can use it to mark letters you can't find. If you've got a microwave where you know you're only going to be pressing certain buttons and they're not purely touchscreen but are actually press button, you can use it to mark your microwave. If you've got a washing machine, you can use it to mark your washing machine, your thermostat, your oven, buttons on a telephone keypad. As far as your imagination goes, that's what a bump-on is for. And then with bump-ons, there's something called Tactimark. Have I talked to you about Tactimark? Tactimark is basically a liquid bump-on. It comes in a tube very much like the puffy fabric glue. Yeah. It's very similar to the idea of a puffy fabric glue. And you squirt it out in the shape you want, and it dries hard in that shape. So I know somebody who has a treadmill, and on their treadmill we've marked all of the things on it with plus and minus and some braille markings, because they do braille. Yeah. So for instance, inclination I think is an I and speed is an S. So Tactimark gives you even more freedom, because you can mark things with exactly what you want rather than just a dot. Yeah. And we've talked a lot about sight. With these stickers for the keyboards, you can also get them in braille. So if you're a brailleist and your touch typing is not quite there, you can braille mark your keys. And that's nice low tech. I always like a low tech gadget. So I think that is all we have time for today. And if there are no more questions coming through, leave more questions with us, and we will get back to you at a later date. I'm definitely going to give Maxine a call when we get off of this to look at what
you can always call our number of Corona Vision. They will put you through to us, so we can better help you with your needs. If it's that you need the IT tuition, where we can set an appointment for you to come in, and we have to do, because of the corona going on, we have to do a health check and everything before you come in. But if it's you need help with home visits, or that's me, and if it's IT tuition, it's Catherine, and we're taking it in-house.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask any questions. Call us at any time between 9:30 and 9 and 5. 9 and 5, the lines will be open. We will answer your phone call. If you don't get through to us,
you can call reception, leave a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to join us on Thursday, where we're going to be back in the kitchen with Aisha.
Yeah.
We are cooking, see if my pronunciation is correct, saltfish and ackee and dumplings. I know there were dumplings because I spotted them.
I'm eating dumplings.
So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
And don't forget to call us if you have any more questions. So I'll let Ola scoot over to the computer and we shall see you soon.